Tēnā ko, Mr. Speaker, kia ora tātou katoa, ko taku pātai, he pātai ki te minite mō ngā take tāiao. To the Minister for the Environment, what progress has there been in building a network of Kura Taiao-Enviro-Schools as negotiated by the Māori Party in the emissions trading scheme package of concessions announced on 23 November 2009?
The Honourable Dr. Nick Smith.
Mr. Speaker, the Government and the Māori Party, as part of our broader program of work, agreed to provide from Te Puna Kōkiri and the Ministry for the Environment funding for the first 6 months of this year, and this has been successfully delivered. We also have work underway as part of the Waste Minimisation Fund for a new program with environment schools in the early childhood sector to embed a culture of recycling at an early age. I'm working with his colleague, the Minister of Māori Affairs, on that, and I'm hopeful of being able to make some announcement next year.
Ururoa Flavell.
Has the Minister received any feedback in response to the Māori Party's advocacy to retain Kura Taiao-Enviro-Schools, and what is the long-term vision for sustaining such a significant program?
The Honourable Dr.
Mr. Speaker, I do want to acknowledge the very strong advocacy by the Māori Party for both Enviro-Schools and for ensuring that it is delivered in Te Reo. The Ministry for the Environment is to have discussions with Enviro-Schools on the Te Reo component of the new program intended for the early childhood centres, and I hope to be in a position to be able to make an announcement next year.
Hilary Calvert.
To the Minister, what is the total cost of the emissions trading schemes package of concessions negotiated with the Māori Party, including the Kura Taiao-Enviro-Schools and the handing over of 35,000 hectares of conservation land to 5 iwi?
The Honourable Dr. Nick Smith.
Well, the member is incorrect in asserting that there's been a handover. There is a proposition as part of the agreement with the Māori Party to plant trees on conservation land, and I think most members of this House would welcome that initiative, because in partnership with the Māori Party we've been able to reverse a trend of the worst deforestation under the previous government and actually get some trees in the ground, something that both National and the Māori Party is very proud of.
Point of order, the Honourable Rodney Hyde.
Mr. Speaker, the question was what is the cost? It might be the Minister doesn't know, but he certainly has to address that question. He can't just say the member's
Order.
wrong.
No, the question also inserted some statement about land being handed over to Māori interests or something as part of, and the Minister disputed that part of the question. If the questioner wanted that answer on cost, should have restricted the question just to that. Did Hilary Calvert supplementary question?
Supplementary. What does he say to those New Zealanders who complain the government gave away taxpayers' dollars and 35,000 hectares of conservation land just to secure 5 votes for its ETS legislation?
The Honourable
Mr.
Dr. Nick
Speaker,
Smith.
the first point I'd make is that if the ACT Party had chosen to take a responsible and reasonable view around climate change policy, rather than sticking its head in the sand and pretending that the issue of climate change is a non-issue. Having said that, I've actually found a really constructive approach with the Māori Party around environmental issues, and I tell you why. Because both the Māori Party and National want a balanced approach around both the environment and the economy, something that I think has actually been an ethos of Māori for a very, very long time.
Charles Chauvel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. How is it fair to have made the 73 kura nationwide eligible for Enviro-Schools funding, while the staff, students and parents at New Zealand's other 6,900 schools now have to do all their own fundraising if they want to run an Enviro-Schools program after his government cut the $19.4 million made available for Enviro-Schools by the last government?
The Honourable Dr. Nick Smith.
Mr. Speaker, quite the contrary. And I don't know where the member's getting his information from, but it is grossly inaccurate. The simple point and the representations I've received from the Minister of Māori Affairs is this. The government with Enviro-Schools is proposing a program of promoting recycling in our early childhood centres. The Minister of Māori Affairs has made representations that says that program should be available to Kahanga Reo. And which member of this Parliament would stand up and say a program should only be in kindergartens and Pākehā centres and not available in Kahanga Reo?
Order. Is the House quite finished? I allowed a fairly high level of interjection around that question and answer, but I'd like the House to come back to order, please, as we move on to question number 7, the Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Mr. Speaker,